My name is Shara Anderson, like Kirk said, and we are a mentoring agency that covers all of Polk County, Wisconsin. He's going to show me how to switch slides here. There we go. All right. So Kirk already stole most of my thunder here, but this is us. We have 5 kiddos at home, so there's a lot of us and a lot of craziness to go around. But I have the privilege of being married to Kirk, and we've almost been married for 24 years. I'm not sure how that happened so quickly and how we're that old already, but here we are. We both grew up in the Twin Cities. I'm from the White Bear area, and he grew up in St. Paul. Like he said, we met at Century Community College in White Bear and then transferred to Northwestern College. I graduated with a bachelor's in elementary education, and I taught for a couple of years in the Minneapolis School District. And then with the housing bubble in 2002, we ended up out this direction. And so I taught in the Forest Lake District for a couple of years, which has a Spanish immersion school there. Yeah.
That does, yeah.
Which I think people are very happy with, actually. Yeah, so we ended up out here, which was not our initial plan, been out here for 20 years. And I always knew if we were blessed with children that I would want to be home. And so that was something we had known in advance. And we started our family in 2004, which already was 18 years ago. We have an 18-year-old in the house. And so I came home at that point, and we have homeschooled more out of the desire to all be together more than anything. And so we have 5 kiddos aging in range from 8 to 18. And I've done a variety of things while I've been at home to be able to help out with the family budget and things, and just to have another piece of the pie. So I've nannied, I've tutored Chinese children online through VIP Kids. So that was a great way to still have that component of teaching in my life, as well as interacting with, students actively in another culture. And then about a year ago, I jumped into this fabulous organization, Kinship of Polk County. So that's where I am and what I'm presenting about today. Here is our staff. There's 4 of us. We are all part-time. This is such a phenomenal group of people, wonderful people, and they do it very well. So Lisa on the left is our fearless leader. She's the director. She takes care of, she heads up the logistical side, the grant writing, the human resources type of things, budgeting, all those kinds of things, keeps us afloat and in check. And she's been around since about 2010. You'll notice that the middle 2, Carolee and Amy, they have been around for over 20 years, which I think really speaks to the quality of the program, and also just how impactful it is. Like, it's fulfilling work. So they've been around for a long time. The 3 of us are service coordinators. So we've divvied up Polk County into 3 areas, and we serve those 3 different areas with the school districts in those different areas. I'm the new kid on the block, so there might be some questions you might have that I don't 100% know the answers to, although I'm learning them quickly. So let's delve in, and please interrupt me at any point if you have any questions. So our mission, Kinship of Polk County, works to improve the quality of a child's life by establishing a relationship with a caring mentor for the purpose of promoting stability, support, friendship, and community. And I remember when I first started, I wrote down those 4 at the bottom: the stability, support, friendship, and community. And if we're raising the youth up to have those 4 pieces, it's really raising those families up, and it's also raising us up as a community. So I love that now I'm doing something that's directly impacting right here, right now, and see the impact of that daily. So so what do we do? So you've probably heard of Big Brother, Big Sister, and we are similar to that. So if you picture that, we have some more nuances and some more freedom in our organization, but essentially that's what we do. It's a nonprofit mentoring agency, and we serve children ages 5 to 18, and we've been doing that since 1980 in Polk County. A little more background, Rich Camerood was the former Human Services Director, and he began it, along with a group of concerned citizens within the county. It's an affiliate of Kinship Inc. And currently that network is made up of 19 affiliates that are located in the upper Midwest. So there's more of us around. We are the largest affiliate though within the 19. So we have a board of directors, which is 7 volunteers, 3 part-time service coordinators like myself, and then the executive director, but we have more than 350 mentors who are all volunteers. So which is pretty impressive. All these pictures are current mentor and mentees. These are some of mine within the schools, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but it's a lot of times fun to see the faces that go along with some of these stories. So the youth we serve, can I see what slide I'm in? Is there a way to check that out?
Which one?
Like, I just want to see the number of the slide. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry. Technical difficulties. So kinship matches at-risk youth who are, when they apply, they need to be within the ages of 5 to 15, but we will carry them through the age of 18 or graduation, whichever comes later. And there needs to be an identifiable need that we can meet. So something that's going on, either they're struggling with peers or at school, or it might be a single parent who's looking for more help. If there's drugs and alcohol that they have exposure to, whatever that is. One thing that's different about our program than some others is that it is not a mandatory program. It's never mandated. So the youth needs to want that mentor, and that's something we ask about in the interview process. And the parent also needs to want this for their child and be actively willing to participate in the roles that are laid out for the parent. So, again, kinship youth are young people who would benefit from extra support, encouragement, and companionship. And there's just one of our matches just having some fun over there. So it's fun to see them grow. So who are our mentors? Where are they coming from? Our kinship mentors are people who are willing and able to invest in friendship with a child or young person, but it really varies what our mentors look like. So married, single, male, female, older, younger, whatever. Adult is a requirement for our community-based program, but we see a gamut. We do recognize that one of our sweet spots is those who are empty nesters or approaching empty nest, just because they have the time and they're in a place where they want to give back. Although we do have some young families, and we also have some younger single people who are mentors as well. So it really spans, and we're happy for all of them. So we offer 2 mentoring options. One is our community-based, and when you think of Big Brother, Big Sister, that's kind of what it is. It's our adults matching with youth within the community. But we also started, so the community base has been since the beginning, since 1980, but in 1988, we saw a need for more mentoring services, and that's when we entered the schools. And we have 8 schools in Polk County that we are in all of them. And so what that is the high schoolers, typically it's a high school, once in a while it is an adult, but typically high schoolers matched with either elementary or middle school students, and that's during the school day then. And they meet for a half an hour once a week and hang out together. And that is a fantastic program that I'll speak more about in a little bit. So our community-based mentoring program, these matches spend time together 3 or 4 times each month, and we ask for a 1-year commitment. That's just kind of the guideline. We see a lot of different things happen. Sometimes we have people who meet much more than this. Sometimes only every other week works for people. But that's just kind of our our jumping off point, our guideline. So, and when we screen and interview, and when we do all these things, we look for natural interests that are already there. And then we try to make a high quality match from that. So if you love tinkering in the garage with, with your cars, we really try and find a youth that would love doing that alongside you. So you're just doing whatever you already naturally do. But you get to bring somebody along with you. So gardening or baking or crafts, whatever that looks like. And what we find is that not only is that youth gaining exposure to those new ideas, they're learning how to do new things, they're finding new interests, and they're gaining confidence in themselves, which is exciting. And then they begin to share that with younger siblings or cousins or whatever. They're also learning respect for others. And most importantly, they learn that other people care about them. And that's where we really start to see change in these students. Any questions before I keep going here?
Yeah, how do you identify the at-risk kids?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's really a basis by basis case. Sometimes we get county referrals, and a lot of times it's an application that a parent has filled out, or it might be, a counselor involved or that kind of thing. So that's how they end up coming to us. Sometimes it's word of mouth, sometimes it's county. Sometimes the needs might be higher than what our organization will can take on with volunteer mentors, and they need to be referred to a more professional where they're not volunteers, they're paid professionals that can help them if it's a more intense situation. So, yeah.
And you had a question?
Oh, I was just going to ask her, is this a program that's throughout the state, or is this just Polk County?
So there are so we are just in Polk County. Kinship of Polk County. We do have, there's 18 other affiliates throughout the upper Midwest.
Oh, I see.
And mainly Wisconsin. There's like one in North Dakota and one in Michigan. But yeah, I think in the cities, the comparable would be Big Brother, Big Sister.
Sure.
Yeah.
More of a rural program.
Yeah, for us it helps, and that was part of the school mentoring piece. Was it helped us get out to the more rural areas too, because these kids are already at school with these high schoolers. So that was one of those things that helped
That's great. That's great.
This need.
Yeah.
And speaking about the mentoring, so we are in all 8 school districts, and they all seem to be quite happy that we're there. We come in as service coordinators and we run the program. So we work with the counselors and the staff there and the teachers to coordinate the matches and get them off the ground. And we hold monthly mentor meetings and that kind of thing. And it is so neat to be with these high schoolers. And so I'm in the Luck and Frederick area, if you know those areas. It's in the northern part of the county. And I walked into the office one day and the principal was there, and I said, if you're losing any hope in humanity, or if people are, tell them to go hang out with these high school mentors, because they are fantastic people. And it's exciting to know that they are up and coming, So it's a neat thing. It's so fun to go in the library and watch these kids playing games during their lunchtime or their study hall. And the kids are so excited for whatever their day and time is that they get to meet with their mentor. So.
And I had a question for Ann. You were at the in Minneapolis public school for many years. Did the school system, I mean, aside from Big Brothers and Big Sisters, which are sort of external, did you have an internal, any sort of mentoring program that Minneapolis public schools was doing?
Yeah, so I taught in Minneapolis for 20 years, mainly at the high school level, a little bit at the middle school. I'm not sure. I know that some years they had a program with math, I think, with like high school students studying math, but it's really, what can I say? It was on and off, like some years there would be a program, some years they weren't. And, unlike what I think Shara's talking about too with the rural schools, a lot of times, you're separated by distance and it's not easy access. I love this idea though, because I know that the high school age, which is what I work with the most, they blossom when they're able to be the peer tutors or the tutors
Mhm.
to younger students, because it gives them confidence as well. So I love the idea, but I can't think of a program that was that strong, except for maybe the math one.
I live in Minnetonka. Hey Rod, welcome. Glad you're here. We're expecting you. So I live in a west suburban school district in Minneapolis. And they have on sort of a businessy basis for their high schoolers only, kind of where they partner people, sort of a mentoring in business, or kind of getting your head around what you might want to do in college and everything. But I haven't really seen this type of program outside of Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So, and Shara, I had a question for you. When you say the youth are at risk, it sort of conjures up these images of kids coming in, heads hung and down in the dumps and life in chaos. I would imagine some are not that some come in pretty well and this just builds from where they are, but do some kids come in with heads hung and, really not doing well? And what transformation do you see through the program and kind of how long does that normally take?
Yeah, those are good questions. So yeah, we really see a wide variety of reasons why they come to us. And for some, it's just that parent just wanted another role model for the kid. They're not even necessarily struggling, but for whatever reason, maybe dad or mom isn't in the picture and they just want, another role model for them. Whatever it may be. But yes, we do see a wide variety of needs. And I will say, like currently on my caseload, I have a student that it's gotten increasingly difficult as they've entered the teen years. And then COVID hit a lot of the
So hard.
students really hard.
Yeah, really hard.
Yeah. So then it's navigating through the mentor still knowing if they're making a difference, even while maybe feeling, I don't know if rejected is the right word, but pushed away, but they're pushing everybody away.
Right.
And I'll be talking a little bit later about how we support our mentors. We don't just match them and then throw them out there to be left. But we also, so our average, so we ask for a year commitment, but our average span of time is 4.5 years for a match to stay together, which is that longevity that really makes the difference. For kids, and it really makes that impact on the mentor too. So not just our high school mentors, but I recently had, and I've only been in the program a year and I've got stories to tell. One of my mentors, his mentee was in his wedding a couple of years ago. Like for many of them, just become part of the family, and watch them really grow and change. We need to figure out so how do we go about making this mentoring mentee match? This is for our community-based, how we do it within our community base. So proximity is a huge deal. We pull up Google Maps and, we measure the distance to know how far, because the less logistical issues that are going to be, the more success that our matches are going to have. So we like them to be close by. I do have some teachers who are mentors. So I have one who is actually not that close to her mentee, but they're at the same school. So they just choose to hang out right after school, and then she brings her home or meets mom and in the middle or whatever. Again, we really look for that interest base. So if you have a kiddo who just loves the outdoors, we try to connect them with somebody who as well just loves being out there. Whatever you can see, this young man in the front of the picture is Noah, and he loves fishing. Anytime there's fishing, he'll be right there. And his mentor is in the back, seated high with his arms crossed there. And Grant has been a mentor since the 80s. And not only has he been a mentor since the 80s, but he's in his 80s. So he has just been a mentor and watched kids graduate out of the program one after the other. He's a retired farmer and just loves being there. He's a no nonsense kind of guy, and is great with the kids. So
He looks great for his 80s.
yeah, no, I think he's
Never
very
know.
active. It's so funny because, you know, we communicate through text and email with most of our people. He has neither. So he's the one that keeps me picking up the phone, which is probably really good for me.
That's funny.
The other thing, and I think, you know, John, you had maybe, as we were talking about what kind of kids come through the door, we are very open and honest, even at the, you know, as soon as we're making the match, we're very open and honest with our mentors about what issues might arise or what concerns we really have, or a youth has. I just recently interviewed a potential mentee and his mom, and mom thinks he might be on the autism spectrum. And so following through for him is super important. And our mentors are good about that, but just, you know, don't suggest you might be getting ice cream next week. Like, you know, either don't say anything or that's the plan, you know, those kinds of things. Again, if we have a student who just seems like the needs are going to be higher than what our volunteers can serve, we also, you know, are honest about that. We do have someone who it seems like the needs are a little higher, but one of the service coordinators thinks they might have a retired special education teacher that might be able, so that would be an excellent place. But we do not sugarcoat things or put on rose-colored glasses when we're trying to make these matches, because that just ultimately doesn't work. So yeah. So our mentors are really well supported. As service coordinators, we have our own caseload. So I connect with my mentors at least once a month in some way, shape, or form. And then I'm constantly getting pictures of fun things they did, or a call that we're really struggling in this way. So I might pull, you know, parent and youth in for a meeting so we can try and work through that, those kinds of things. Our activity options are super fun. And I think this might make us unique in some ways. We do things like tubing at Trollhagen nights, or holiday craft and swim night. We did a play last year at the Children's Theater, and we offer these things. They're completely optional. They're around every other month. And we try to offer them either free or at very low cost, since the mentors are already putting out so much time and probably some finances as well. And then we also give options of annual training where we pull in like a local professional, whether that's a psychologist or like CPS, those kinds of things. And then also online options like suicide prevention or mental health kinds of trainings. Again, always optional, but they're put out there for our mentors for extra things. And then mentor gatherings. We work to pull our mentors together as much as possible, because they can bounce ideas off of each other and just keep the energy and encouragement up. Again, for the longevity of our matches, sharing is a really great thing, and hopefully some fun too. So any other questions before I keep going? Everyone's good?
Anyone? All right.
Why can't I change the page?
Just gotta click on there.
It's good Kirk's here. That's all I have to say. Otherwise, we'd be sitting on slide 13 for a while. So here's some of our statistics for 2021. We had 56 community-based matches, which really came out of a real low time during COVID. A lot of things got canceled. A lot of people didn't make it through that time. And then we currently have within the county 14 waiting kids, which is actually down. We were in the low 20s, which is high for us. But again, coming out of COVID, we saw the needs of kids higher and probably people a little more leery to jump out and volunteer and commit to something. Our school matches, the number's probably a little off, but around 291. I just matched 2 more kids yesterday. So this is a constant changing number. But so, you know, around 350 volunteers that we have working in our system. So our total hours were around 7,500 last year, volunteer hours, which is a pretty cool thing to say is happening right here in Polk County in our home. So we also find, so when we're talking about that at-risk number, we find that about 81% of our community-based youth served live in single-parent homes. And so again, we're just that next layer of safety net and support, hopefully, for those who are looking for it. So the big question, how can you help from where you're sitting? Word of mouth, we find, is just our very best way that we are able to recruit. So if any of you have connections to Polk County or know of someone living in the sticks up here, we love word of mouth. That's our best bet. Donations, I'll talk about this in a little bit as well, but we are nonprofit. So even though we are Kinship of Polk County, we are not a government agency. We are nonprofits. And then the other way, for most of you, this would be hard, but volunteering. Our mentors is what makes the program go. We also have people who volunteer in other ways, like when we have an ice fishing day or whatever, we get those ice fishermen out with all their gear and supplies, and they come out and volunteer and help us out too. So yeah. So this is how we're funded. Our director does a lot of grant writing. 40% of our money comes from foundation grants. She's phenomenal at it and is good at finding new and upcoming things. And then we do have a contract with the county. So 19% of our budget currently comes from them. That used to be a higher number, but just as everyone's cutting back, that's been cut, but we've been able to work through that. 17% is individual donations and sponsorships, and then 24% of it is fundraisers. We do a really fun fundraiser in August called our Luau. We have a big dessert auction and people bid, I don't know, I think our highest cake this year at a dessert auction went for like $3,500 or whatever. So for us, that's a pretty big deal. I think our budget is around 200,000. So yeah, so this is how we're funded. This is just a snapshot. This just gives you an idea. So I currently have 5 kids waiting. And I think I just found one for one of my girls in luck, but this kind of gives you an idea, just looking through this, what these kids are like. That bottom kiddo, Carter, he's 16 years old, but applied when he was 15. So many of these kids have been waiting and they cannot apply after they're 15. So I'm glad he snuck in there. I'm really hoping to get him matched. With him, he has a reactive attachment disorder. And so what that means for him is he does not have great impulse control. He lives with grandma and grandpa, has not made great choices when he's with his peers, but does really well with that adult component. And has done things like he did steal grandpa's truck, and he didn't have his driver's license and ended up crashing it. but he is one of those kids that if he had, I'm really hoping to find a guy that loves to work on engines and be in the garage, because man, he would just eat that up, and that would be fantastic for him. So I'm eager to get that going. And here's my, I actually have 3 in luck, but I think I've got a mentor for one of those, but another couple, and really great kids, funny. Robert at the bottom down there, he's got a great sense of humor, and actually gets along very well with his mom. They're just looking for that next layer of support for him. So, oh, what happened there? Huh.
I don't know.
I like reading
Oh,
through
there
the
we go.
profiles. It really kind of puts a face on, you know, who you're serving. So that's really cool.
Yeah. So if you're ever looking for more information, I'm always glad to answer questions. Love talking about kinship. We have our website and our phone number, our Facebook page. That would be, I didn't put that up here, but even liking our Facebook page is helpful for algorithms and getting things moving. So that would be a great way to help us out as well.